My good buddy, Jimmy Vaughn, bringing us in. What a patriot. He was over at the house last week. He and Robin, just pointing out how many great anti-New World Order folks there are out there. He's been aware of the New World Order for like 16, 17 years, been fighting it. He's not a late comer to the fight, just to point out how many great patriots there are around the world that are awake. For the next hour, we are joined in studio by Dr. Edward Group. Now, I already skipped a break last hour. I haven't plugged anything. Most talk radio, you would have heard plugs during each segment, and that's fine, because they have to fund themselves with sponsors, with advertisers to bring money in. I get so focused on the news and battling for the Republic that I don't refill our gas tank and fund our operation. So I'm going to give you a hard pitch, and I'm going to give myself a hard pitch for selenium. The more I take the vitamins and minerals and products and InfoWars Life that are always sourced to be the purest, most organic, most bioavailable, the better my life gets. Now, the problem is I got like 25 products, and they're all really excellent, and I just have to make myself through 3 meals every day to remember to, carry the caplets and tinctures and things with me. And everybody can see I look a lot better. I have more energy. I'm not saying I'm a beach boy, but I've lost 70-something pounds, and it's been amazing. And we were, for months and months, developing with Dr. Group BioTrue Selenium. Now, a lot of things at InfoWarsLife.com, like DNA Force and Lung Cleanse and Super Male Vitality, are super proprietary, game-changing, cold-pressed, just amazing. That's why they get 5 stars on nutraceutical and what I would call, supplement Nazi sites. I don't mean literal, but Nazis, but like Seinfeld, folks that are really into it, people that are experts, almost in an obsessive way. They love what Dr. Group has helped us develop. A lot of it, again, is complex molecules, acids, you name it. This is just bioavailable for mustard seed, the best selenium that we could bring you. We believe it's the best out there at a very, very low price. And when you look into selenium, it's like just like iodine. It's a key missing link. You're the expert. But what's crazy, this is serendipity, synchronicity. This actually happened 5 minutes ago during the break, and I'm going to give you the floor. People are always like, shut up and let Group talk. But I've got to tell people, this just went up. Kit Daniels, August 24th, 2016. He's writing about this breaking in major studies today. You were set a month ago to come and pitch selenium when it finally got here, and it got here last week. This was a month ago, and you were going to talk about this before even this study to show how cutting edge you are. Study, selenium may stop Zika birth defects. Low dietary selenium could be at risk factor for Zika-related defects, says UNC study. Prestigious. Now, I'm going to stop right there. But you talk about is it serendipity or synchronicity? I mean, this is insane. That it broke in the news today is just crazy. But this is just an example. I've read the studies where if you don't have selenium, you get colon cancer. If you do, it's like the numbers are insane. Now, I'm not pitching this as a cancer cure. What I'm saying is if you don't have water, you'll die. If you don't have vitamin C, you'll get diseases where your teeth fall out and everything disintegrates, scurvy. And selenium is another one of those absolute must-haves, and the studies show all-time record low in the Western world. Breast cancer, you name it. It is, my children and I are going to be taking, we've been taking another brand until this came out. I'm taking it now every day. This is so key. Now, for the rest of the hour, Dr. Group, you have the floor, my friend.
Well, it all starts with trying to find the best selenium out there. Iodine is extremely important to the thyroid gland, and everybody has their own special trace minerals that they really like and that are really important in the body. And we've had the X2 Survival Shield, and we've had so many requests over the years for selenium. What took me so long is I wanted to find the best bioactive selenium that was out there. And just recently, we were able to source a certified organic bioavailable selenium from mustard seed extract. Selenium is an extremely important trace mineral in the body. We are becoming deficient in selenium all over the world. As a matter of fact, there was an article just recently that...
When we come back, we'll have time for you to go through your 50 articles. I mean, we've got mainline studies here. But now I've been reading the studies. I'm not an expert like you, but isn't it that most of it's synthetic that they're selling, and it doesn't do anything, basically?
Yeah, most of it's synthetic, and the majority of the population actually has selenium deficiency. There's just not enough in it. You can get it from seeds, you can get it from seafood, you can get it from eggs, a few different sources. But the problem is, especially with all the spraying out there, is that And by the way, we're not making any health claims here. The aluminum is so high in the bodies from all of the deodorants and all the cooking and all of the chemtrails that are falling down.
The industrials.
Literally reacting with the selenium in the soil.
It's bonding.
And it's bonding, and it's creating a deficient source of selenium.
Oh.
I'll tell you this article that just came out, which
Wonder why the New World Order keeps hitting us with it.
you can really link it because Alcoa was involved in selenium research.
And then they came out with the fluoride in the water.
Yeah, and by the way, selenium reacts with fluoride and bromine as well because iodine does.
And then the White House science czar wrote a book and admitted he's doing it to us called Ecoscience. Oh, he wrote a book saying it. It's not my opinion. He hit us hard, and he gets to laugh at all the brain-damaged people. We'll be right back. From the front lines of the information war. With Dr. Group. Right and wrong. A new world order. If that isn't 1984, what is? There's no new world order, but the president's calling for a planetary government called the New World Order, and now the Pope's calling for it, and it's unelected megacorporations that legalize slavery again in the TPP. And we're bad kooks because we told you the NSA was secretly spying on you. Exactly as it's now come out they were, because I had NSA whistleblowers on in the 90s. But then they wouldn't arrest them. I was eating during the break, shouldn't do that. Then they wouldn't arrest them. They would just ignore them. Dr. Group.
So what I was saying, an interesting article that I found was a paleontologist was looking at selenium levels, and it says, did a missing trace element, selenium, trigger mass extinctions? Not to be fear-mongering or anything, but what he determined was the cause of the 3 mass extinctions on the history of the Earth was actually a selenium shortage, which crippled the life on Earth. So I just want to let people know how important of a trace mineral this is. You know, Dr. Wallach...
Hey, guys, show a video shot of that. Yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Wallach was doing research on selenium back in the day with cystic fibrosis, and he was fired from his laboratory working on monkeys because he realized that giving monkeys selenium and the pregnant mothers selenium, he could reverse cystic fibrosis. And an interesting story he tells also is with muscular dystrophy. Everybody remembers...
Sure, if they got it in utero, then they wouldn't get it. They had to have it while they were being developed.
Also, if they were still young. If they were still young, they could reverse muscular dystrophy. And that's, you know, I haven't seen the research on that, but I know that Jerry Lewis was actually fired in 2011, and he wasn't able to do any more of those
it's just like breast cancer.
If you look into the Muscular Dystrophy Association, which I did, I mean, it's pretty crazy how they distribute money and how they take advantage.
Well, let's expand on this and then walk through it all. And again, we have the new product at InfoWarsLife.com, but wherever you get it, get true organic selenium, okay?
Yeah.
We have what we believe is the very best out there, and it supports the InfoWar, so it's a 360 win. BioTrue Selenium is the product, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. And please, after you go through these studies, and give folks the sources, obviously, we're showing these on screen for TV viewers, but radio listeners, obviously, you can see this video later today when it's posted on the side if you want to follow along even closer. This synergistically works with true iodine. And so this supercharges and goes together. Please continue, Dr. Group.
So selenium works directly with iodine, and selenium, the highest concentration of selenium is in the thyroid gland, but it's actually used all over the body. As a matter of fact, there's 25 genes in the body that are directly dependent upon selenium. So it really is a all-around nutrient that everybody really needs in their body. The strange thing, you know, we talked about the Zika, and it's how the Zika was patented by the Rockefeller Foundation. The
1954
Foundation is funding some of, in conjunction with Monsanto, who sprayed all of the larvicide on the area in Brazil where the individual children had microcephaly, the shrunken brains, basically. When you start looking at Zika, and then Zika now coming to the United States, what I've uncovered is there's a sinister plan with the Zika, because the Zika virus can actually cause infertility because it alters the selenoprotein. So when you take selenium in the body, It's turned into enzymes, and it works with the glutathione peroxidase as well. So it actually benefits the detoxification systems in your body. It stimulates the liver. It helps balance the thyroid gland. It helps detoxify. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of studies out there how selenium works as an anti-cancer preventative. And as a matter of fact, the FDA actually allows claims for selenium. Believe it or not, they were sued a long time ago by a FDA lawyer, Emord, which is Jonathan Emord, which is a great activist.
He's an amazing guy. We've had him on before.
Dietary supplement field. So you're actually allowed to say that selenium reduces the risk of certain cancers, and selenium has anti-carcinogenic effects. A couple other things that I really like about it is it actually recirculates your vitamin C in your body, and it recirculates the glutathione.
Again, I've read the studies. I'm not an expert like you, but explain this to me. That's why I was mentioning it earlier. Vitamin C with the true iodine, with the selenium, these are all these three key things that all cofactor and work together, and that if you don't have them, you die. I mean, these are absolute building blocks. And the point is that there's massive low levels of selenium. Let's get back into your studies, and we're going to do a document cam shot for TV viewers. And then let's also go over Kit Daniels' article that links into the UNC study, because this is amazing. The study, which was released in July but received scant media attention, and again, I just saw it in the news today, and Kit wrote about it, says that Zika mimics a genetic disease known as PCCA by lowering selenium proteins known as, and then it goes through the type of proteins. This is amazing. Let's talk about all that. Dr. Group?
So basically what the research suggests in this, and I have another form which is a little more detailed than that, is, and we had no idea this was coming out. I mean, this is basically brand new stuff. This is what kind of scares me about the Zika thing, because you know, I know that a lot of the Zika research, some of it is a hoax when you look at...
Oh, sure. They're hyping it up, absolutely.
But we know that they want to develop a vaccine for it. But I tell you what they don't want people finding out is that selenium will deactivate and prevent the Zika virus from doing any damage. Because what it does is the trace mineral selenium, which has been shown actually to improve the clinical outcomes in HIV and AIDS and several other viral diseases.
You're reading from the prestigious study.
From the study, could also be useful in reducing the risk of neurological disorders. Because if you just look at the Zika virus and you take away the pesticides and all the other stuff that's associated with microcephaly, the Zika virus itself, and what's really scary too is the genetically modified mosquitoes that they've made, because they've altered the genes in these GM mosquitoes to attack the mosquitoes with the Zika. So,
by the way, I'm sitting here like we're in a science fiction dystopia. I've studied all this. I read this every day. It's in mainstream news, and it just sounds crazy. The Rockefellers patented it, weaponized it, and then created a genetically engineered mosquito with it, and now it's suddenly out of control, and then they're obsessed with selenium and iodine and fluoride, which counters those, and you see their program. I mean, these people are, and then they write books bragging how they were going to do it to us. It is so unbelievable. The bottom line is, folks, I don't care where you get the selenium. Filter your water. Don't drink hydrofluorosilicic acid. Harvard now admits massive IQ reductions. Harvard even admits, you can pull these studies up as well. Harvard, I just use that because there's so many studies on how iodine deficiency lowers IQ on average 15 points. Look it up for yourself, and then the FDA keeps lowering it down, 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 down. I guess they'll soon say we don't even need it. This is crazy town, Dr. Group.
Selenium, too, causes mental retardation and mental problems. What we're seeing now...
fluoride?
Fluoride? Well, no, I was saying selenium deficiency. Selenium deficiency also causes mental retardation, severe selenium deficiency.
What is the molecule like? I mean, what...
It's actually a trace mineral, and it's listed as a semiconductor.
And we're electrochemical.
And we're electrochemical. That's why it's so important, and it's used in multiple phases, especially...
By the way, Anthony keeps always going, take your selenium, and let's just say it. X2 gives me a lot of energy. People almost like, don't take selenium, Alex. I've been bouncing off the walls lately. This stuff is amazing.
Well, because a lot of people with thyroid disorders, iodine is great, and iodine will help balance the thyroid, and that's one of the main things that we're seeing right today across the board. I mean, endocrine disrupting chemicals, which are, the thyroid is an endocrine gland, lack of deficiencies in trace minerals. There's 91 trace minerals out there. A lot of them you can get with Himalayan crystal salt. You can get with organic apple cider vinegar. You can get with fulvic acid. That's why we put that's why we put trace minerals in all the products that you have, Alex, because we put the fulvic acid in there so they get these trace minerals. Selenium is only needed in microgram amounts. It's needed in 200 micrograms.
So we're talking about almost an adjuvant or an activator.
We're talking about a mineral that's a trace mineral that's responsible for multiple actions in the body. It has been shown to be fight against carcinogens. It's been deactivated.
Obviously, Linus Pauling won the Nobel Prize for this, but he said you couldn't take too much vitamin C. I don't know, it could upset your stomach if you take too much. What is the dose you can take of this, and can you take too much selenium?
You can, I think, take too much selenium because it is a trace mineral. I recommend anything from 200 to 400 micrograms a day, but I'd rather stay on the safe side. Some doctors out there right now are recommending a gram, which is 1,000.
So I've already taken 2 pills a day. Is that too many?
400 micrograms. That's fine. Nothing's going to go wrong with that, and that's probably a good dose for you. It does stay in the body for a few days, so it's something that the body can easily process, and most likely you're not going to be taking too much of it. But listen, there is a lot of information out there on selenium and how it works in the body.
By the way, John Ronson's a really smart guy, best-selling author, and he'd never even heard of selenium. And that's an example.
I mean, you look, before we started putting all the information out there about iodine, no one really knew about iodine. All they knew was that
now you go to Whole Foods, they got 10 products of it. But I'm going to be honest, it's potassium iodide that you don't absorb that isn't as good. We would sell that. We knew iodine was key. It's why we developed this. We would be selling the other stuff. We have it for nuclear attacks and things, but that's an emergency potassium iodide. People come up to me and say, is this good? And I've asked you about it. It's not that they're competitors. We would be putting that out too. It's not as good as our iodine, our X2. Tell people how X2 goes together with our BioTrue Selenium from InfoWarsLife.com.
It's basically iodine and selenium work together as a team. So if you have a team that you're going to have repairing and balancing out your endocrine system, your thyroid gland, you want to have that team working together. So I would have had selenium out a long time ago, or we would have even put it in with the X2. The problem is
we tried that. In fact, I said I want X3, I want to make it better, and we just can't do it with selenium.
And listen, it's, many people there's so many benefits of just selenium in itself. It's a fantastic immune modulator. Believe it or not, it has a lot to do with fertility and infertility. I've also linked that to the...
Oh, I know women that go to fertility doctors and they tell them take selenium. And I want to expand on something. I'm really proud of what we do. I've been told by industry leaders, some of the biggest retailers in the country who've asked us to consult for them, I don't have time to do it, that just what you said, we have made iodine now be in all the Whole Foods and all the basic shops. It was not there 3 years ago. We have changed the market on that. I guarantee you with selenium, we start pushing this, it's such a service to the public. And they should tell people about selenium as well. Wherever you get your selenium, this is key, ladies and gentlemen. Do your own research. And we've come up with the very best selenium that we possibly could. Dr. Group believes it's probably the best out there. We're talking nutraceutical level, incredibly bioabsorbable from a natural form, from an organic form, the mustard seed. But regardless, it's funding this broadcast. But tell people they need to filter their water with a system that cuts out fluoride and bisphenol A and all the garbage that's in the water and the Roundup, which they now admit is growing the breast cancer and the rest of it. They knew that when they approved it. That's all come out. Whatever you do, this is a war. Warn people about what's going on. Tell them about what's happening. Look at Hillary. They admit her real health problem is hyperthyroidism, what you mentioned.
I really believe, I've had a lot of people ask me, speaking of the Hillary health scenario, what's going on with her, and I've kind of watched her, and there's it seems like to me she's definitely has some issues going on with her. Did you ever see that movie Concussion with Will Smith?
No, I didn't.
That was a really good. Anytime you have a concussion, well, first they say she was dehydrated and she fainted. I personally don't believe that she was dehydrated and fainted and hit her head. But
WikiLeaks just came out with the fact that she was looking for Parkinson's medication.
Yeah. I mean, all of the symptoms, you can clearly see, the hypothyroidism that's taking place. I think she might have been exposed to radiation when she was visiting Fukushima, as well as many other things.
That was crazy. Why did they bring U.S. ships right up to it? Why did Hillary go over there? She
went over there with Kennedy, actually, Carolyn Kennedy, I think. And But we know now the devastating effects of what's happening with Fukushima and all the stuff that's going on.
Now, wait a minute. Ann Coulter said the Japanese should be thankful for that. I don't want to bash Ann Coulter. She does some good stuff on guns, but, you know, she said the Japanese ought to be thankful radiation's good for you.
That's just like the medical profession that says pharmaceuticals are good for you and everything else. I mean, the reason you don't see all this stuff in the mainstream, like you said,
it's in competition with them.
They do not want this information out there.
What about the numbers I've seen in mainline studies about people that take selenium and the reductions in cancers? We're not making health claims. We're reading news articles here.
Look, there's a great site. It's called seleniumresearch.com, and you can go there and look at all of the studies for breast cancer studies. There was a study that they determined if they were to give 200 micrograms to every 14-year-old girl on the planet, it would reduce breast cancer by like 85%. It would almost wipe out breast cancer just with selenium. I wrote some stuff down here. I mean, these are published in the journal in JAMA, show that daily supplementation of 200 micrograms of selenium cut the cancer death rate in half. Now, is that not a threat to the pharmaceutical companies and chemotherapy? Lung cancer incident was reduced by 46%. Prostate cancer incident was reduced by 63%. Colon cancer reduced by 58%. 17% reduction in all causes of mortality. Selenium is required in 25 of our genes. I'll tell you another thing that I saw. The University of North Carolina did a study, and because we always talk about vaccines and we always talk about the flu season, which is now year-round with all the influenza viruses that have been released everywhere. When the influenza virus encountered mice deficient in selenium, it mutated and emerged more virulent. So you talk about all the superbugs that are out there. So let's say you get influenza and you're deficient in selenium, and then you cough and you spread that virus. It's even stronger and more
Wow, it's
virulent.
mutating inside of you like a embryonic petri dish. And again, as a layperson just reading the studies and seeing the headlines, this is a fact. I mean, they admit it. You don't have vitamin C, stuff breeds inside of you. You don't have selenium, it breeds inside of you. So whether it's the flu or whether it was Zika, it is giving your body the normal electrochemical power your cells and mitochondria and neurons need. And when you don't have it, it's like not having a battery charge in your car. It's not cranking.
Yeah, that's what I like about the DNA Force, too, is because it protects the DNA. But selenium is another one of those products that protects the DNA. Here's a study that selenium may react directly with carcinogens to prevent their binding to DNA. I mean, that's huge right there. Reactive selenium metabolites can render carcinogens non-carcinogenic. Selenium can raise the levels of xenobiotic enzymes in the liver for detoxification of carcinogens. Selenium after iodine
Skip this break, it's too important.
is the most important mineral affecting thyroid function.
Thyroid. Selenium is a necessary component of the enzymes to remove iodine molecules from T4 converting into T3. Explain that.
Well, that's how selenium works with iodine. It helps convert the T4 to the T3 of the thyroid. And it does that by working with...
And if your body doesn't have it, explain your thyroid will absorb fluoride, bromide, bromide, all the bad halogens they're pumping out at us. And then we wonder why hyperthyroidism and these goiters, and you look at women, beautiful women, young ones now, have these, even if they're skinny, these giblets hanging down. And the government just says, we're going to put you on thyroid medication, sweetheart.
And you know, most pharmaceutical medications actually... especially the ones for mental illnesses, anxiety, depression, are made of fluoride. It's really hard.
Are you saying it was wrong in the Soviet gulags that they gave people fluoride in the water? Because Stalin loved people, right?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I tell you, Dr. Grip, it is just so crazy to sit here and know that no matter how crazy all this sounds, it's what's going on.
Selenium also helps with mercury detoxification as well. So if you take selenium away... think of all the people that have mercury amalgam.
People are always asking how the Japanese can eat the most mercury in the world but live the longest, but other people have lower mercury but end up getting sick from it in the West. And that's what I was reading in another study. In fact, he was just mentioning it earlier about how he eats seafood. It has the selenium in there with the mercury to counteract it. The fish have that, right? It's amazing. So there's selenium right next to the mercury, so God counteracts it.
Yes, yeah.
So that's how you can eat that type of fish and not get sick. It's incredible. I'm sorry, you were trying to get there. Go ahead.
No, yeah, what I'm saying right now is that, you know, everything is polluted, and that's the whole purpose of what we're doing here, and what we're trying to bring to people is that we're doing the research and finding out what you need and what's going to be helpful and what they're, you know, like you said, this study with the selenium and Zika, the association between those two is posted on the WHO website. I mean, the World Health Organization. It's not like they're trying to hide it from...
Yeah, guys, Google worldhealthorganization.org or .gov. I forget which one it is. They have both, I think. And then type in Zika, selenium, you know, search engine. It'll take you to the subpage. So I want to show TV viewers this. We're not playing games. And I want to just tell you something. They've had national news stories. I think are so comical the way they write them going, Alex Jones tells people that you have deficiencies and that it's hurting you, and then he sells you things for the problem. Yeah, I thought that's what you do. Like, you know, if I owned a dog shop or a pet shop, I would sell things for pet owners. I mean, exactly. I'd go out and find the very best water filters at the lowest price that I personally use, and then I sell it to fund our overall operation to keep warning people. It's like they don't get the 2 + 2 = 4. They don't get a 360 win. They think you've got to screw somebody over. No. I take my products. I want to have the best nutraceuticals at the lowest price. And I'm not a sociopath. I'm somebody that really cares about people. But if I was a sociopath and smart, I would still do that, because then I'll have the best products with the best ratings at the highest quality. If the FDA or whatever comes in and tests, I'm going to have all the tests, all the proof, all the stuff ready with the former FDA lawyers running it all. I mean, we're talking about, loaded for bear, because we know we're a target. It's crazy. They don't get it, because other nutraceutical companies call us up, as you know, and they say, the average markup is 7 times. Why are you only marking it up 100%? And I go, because I want to put super high quality products in and still have a decent price, and then I'm going to take the market over. And they go, yeah, you are. Please stop. I mean, these people just don't. It's called Renaissance, people.
The majority of the people in the nutraceutical industry, I'm not trying to bash the nutraceutical industry.
It's unbelievable.
But you and I are both, we have a cause, and
I'm not. Tony Montana said, I have never screwed anybody over before, didn't have it coming to him. I will go around somebody that's attacked me instead of messing with them unless I have to run over them. I'm not looking to prove scores. I'm not looking to do this and that. I'm not looking, no. I am absolutely mission-oriented, 360 win. I treat people how I want to be treated. And it's not even a philosophy. It's my DNA. It's who I am. And I grew up thinking everybody was like me, and I learned they're not. And they wonder why they're losers. If you're a scumbag and a backstabber, you're a scumbag backstabber. Stop being one. Sorry, group.
No, it's just that, I feel I was born to, my dad was involved with the invention of phthalates and plastic.
By the way, I looked that up years ago when I first was talking to you, like 10 years ago. Your dad was a very famous chemist.
Yeah, and actually my family was, it comes from the Webster family. Noah Webster was my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, and Pelatiah Webster was the one that wrote the original Constitution of the U.S., but my family had...
Your dad came in with bisphenol A, basically.
Yeah, my dad was one of the top developers for plastics, PVC.
It was Exxon, right?
With Exxon, yeah. He was one of the chief chemists for that. He actually did work for the government, too, and I think he was put away because he ended up getting cancer.
That's what they do when you get older. They just spike old cannons.
Yep. Yeah,
all these guys that in the CIA and stuff and think they're going to be left alone, they just come kill you.
Actually, I actually found the report probably 6 months ago. He was about to come out and say that the plastics do have cancer-causing...
we ought to publish that.
Yeah, I need to, actually. So I knew at least he knew.
And then literally the Men in Black showed up.
Oh, yeah, there was a group of probably 15 when he died. People that were at my mom's house, and just a stack of documents this thick that they were forcing her to sign. Yeah. But anyway, back to the whole purpose of what we're doing here is I've devoted my life to helping people. Really, it's not about making money. I want to.
But it's not bad to do that either. We need to make money.
We need to help more people.
To expand the operation and be strong in the face of the globalists. It's a total 360 win. But all I'm saying is whatever you do, get your selenium somewhere. And how do people tell? They don't even get it from us. Let's advertise for folks wherever they're at in the world. How do you know when you're reading the label that it's bioavailable from an organic source?
So if you're going to go anywhere and get selenium, the best one that you can get is selenium methionine. It's basically a bonded selenium, and that's the majority out there. There are selenium selenites and other different forms out there. Don't get any of those. There might be a couple other sources out there where you can get fully plant-reacted bioselenium, which is the one that we have here.
Basically, in layman's terms,
said,
this is organic, pure or rocket fuel from the plant.
Straight from the mustard seed. It's actually certified organic.
And think about in the Bible,
organic.
The tiny mustard seed Christ uses as an allegory can grow in this huge tree. And people have always marveled that mustard seed, as they say, is the most powerful seed out there for its size, what it does. One of the smallest seeds that makes something huge. I mean, I think that shows the power of selenium.
It does.
I mean, yeah.
It does.
The mustard seed is powered by selenium.
It is. It is. Selenium is
I know I am now.
essential. And so the more that you can do to stay away and avoid all these things is obviously really, really good. I mean, like you were saying, you want to stay away. It's really hard, actually, to stay away from chlorine and bromine and fluoride.
We're just bathing.
Everything.
It's everywhere.
If anyone goes out to eat at any restaurant, you are going, I don't care what restaurant it is, you're going to get, you know, thousands of parts per...
We got to go to break. Stay there. Come back and finish up on this. Then I want to shift into other news, and we're going to stop plugging selenium, but it's more than just plugging. It is a public service announcement that you need vitamin C, you need water, you need pure water, you need selenium, you need X2, you need pure, true iodine, and we're the only folks that have it. I mean, it's the real deal from deep earth crystal sources, unbound, right in there, so it all fuses together. The two available right now at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Also support our local sponsors on local AM and FMs. We'll be back. Stay with us. I personally have been talking about doing my own lay research in mainstream news, science news, the federal government's own admissions, the UN's own admissions. This stuff's out there. There's actually a lot of good people in the government. We've had the majority of the scientists at the FDA come out and say, in the last 2 decades, over and over again, and their unions have come out and said, take hydrofluorosilicic acid, commonly known as fluoride, out of the water. This is crazy. But then they just call us kooks. They call us nuts. Fine. Consult your physician on whether I'm right, because I'm not your physician. This is me personally talking that you need water, that you need oxygen, that you need vitamin C, that you need selenium, that you need true bioavailable iodine. Consult your physician, again, that you need oxygen. But be sure and keep breathing while you're making that phone call to the physician. And so we're not making health claims. We're not making medical claims here. We're simply talking about the news we're reading, the studies we're looking at that say this, and the fact that the government itself, this is one of the few things, even though they're Nazis about this, that they admit, okay, you can say that selenium has been associated as anti-cancer. It's that powerful. So wherever you get the selenium, do your own research, consult your healthcare practitioner, whatever type that may be that you think is most important. Talk to your medical doctor. And there are a lot of medical doctors I talk to that rave about selenium. There's a lot of good MDs. We're not against Western medicine. We're simply saying it's become a corporate monopoly. Dr. Group, please continue.
No, that's what I was saying. There's one other thing I wanted to add about the selenium, and that's it's not a strange thing, but it's a very interesting thing, is that this was an article that came out. It said, when selenium is scarce, the brain battles the testes for it. And faced with a shortage of the essential nutrient selenium, the brain and the testes duke it out. In selenium-depleted male mice, testes hogged the trace element, leaving the brain in the lurch, scientists report.
That's why I'm so tired.
Journal of Neuroscience. And the reason why that's very interesting is because never before have they found that the body actually fights, or two organs fight each other for a trace mineral. So they found that for the first time,
the body says procreation is more important than you living.
Exactly, exactly. So, by the way, if the Zika virus, you know, talking about the population control, just going off on a tangent here because I did link this up. If the Zika virus, which they're, you know, heavily working with somehow or another to spread everywhere, and now they're, you know, spraying all kinds of larvicides and stuff in Florida.
But they're telling us that the pesticide doesn't hurt us.
Well, they should just give everybody selenium, and then then they'll be protected. But the thing is, the Zika virus will deactivate and cause you to become infertile.
Oh, and it's so weird the Rockefellers and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are involved.
Exactly, exactly.
They're just obsessed with it, and then magically it happens. It's funny.
So another news that I wanted to talk about today was the diagnosis of 9/11-linked cancers have tripled in less than 3 years. And the reason I wanted to bring this up to everybody, just some health news, is because I have family in New York City, and I know a lot of people in New York City, and a lot of them are having problems since 9/11.
Oh, nosebleeds.
More than 5,400 Ground Zero responders and others who lived, work, or went to school near the fallen Twin Towers have come down with 9/11 linked cancers. 5,400. I mean, you remember after 9/11 when they were saying, oh, yeah, it's people were asking, can we go outside? They said, oh, yeah, it's safe to go outside. You can walk around. Well, what was in all those explosives? What was in those cloudy, gray, white plumes of smoke everywhere? I don't know. I'm guessing there was a lot of arsenic. There was a lot of other contaminants and chemicals in there.
Well, we do actually know. I'll talk about it after the break, but go ahead.
But what I'd like to do is just let people know, listen, if you live in the New York area, you know, do your research, go online and type this in. Everything that we talk about, you can do to cleanse your body. Everybody has a self-healing mechanism. Your kids, if you have kids living in New York, make sure that you take the necessary action to cleanse them out, eat clean food, and try to prevent any of this from happening to you.
And what about steam rooms? I've heard those are really good.
Steam rooms are great.
I put in like a $400 unit in my shower, and it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something really, I ought to sell those. That's a way to...
You can buy near-infrared lamps right now on eBay and Amazon, and you can just sit in front of them, and it helps you deep.
Absolutely. And again, we take the market over by selling things that are good and help people. I was thinking this morning when I was on Infowars.com, going through the 50 or so YouTube videos we put out yesterday alone, and I saw one of the perennial complaints, which is true. And it was listeners going, Alex, when you've got a guest on and they're saying such important things, shut up, stop it. But then I think you can't argue with success. Why are we so effective? It's because I am bouncing off the walls. I legitimately am concerned. It's not even hysterical. I'm just jumping up and down saying, hey, look, you know, the house is burning. Let's put it out. And I get so excited when you're saying things I know are true, and I can connect it to other things where the elite have written they're doing this to us. It's like, how do I sit here calmly when the Rockefellers did get the Zika? They did weaponize it. Bill and Melinda Gates are involved in releasing the mosquitoes to supposedly counter it, and now it's exploding. And it does target reproduction, and it does basically sterilize you. And then there's all these writings where they're obsessed with it. And he took over the Cold Springs Harbor laboratory, and the IBM head set up the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute. Then the United States set up the Nazis with the English, folks. And it's not a Nazi conspiracy. It's that I've read 500 books on the Nazis. I've read thousands of other history books. I used to read books every day. Nowadays, I just read news. I'll be frank. I never have. Now I read something that's science fiction to get my head out of this. I am a total expert on all this, okay? I sit here and proviso, oh, don't listen to me. Consult your jackass physician that's, you know, bought and paid for by the New World Order. I'm telling you, the elite are obsessed with this information. Okay, and I want to share it. I don't want to sit there knowing what the globalists are up to and then just hold it back and use it in business and life. I've had so many people say to me, well, Alex, you're scared how dumbed down the public is and how ignorant. That's great. That's why we're, you know, dominating and so successful. I've had folks in business tell me this because they're so dumb. And I'm like, do you understand that we'll be sucked into that, we'll be dumbed down, we'll be hurt by that? What comes around goes around. There is this attitude that permeates society, even in the middle class, of loving the fact that the general public are a bunch of TV head idiots. I don't take pleasure in that. I don't take pleasure in the decline of humanity by every metric, from IQ to life expectancy, despite all the technology, to infant mortality, to cancers exploding, to obesity, to every single thing you look at. We are going to hell in a handbasket. And a lot of it is the modern industrial world makes us lazy. They've dug up people, like I said last night, pull up articles from 5,000 years ago, and they were twice as strong as we are. 20,000 years ago, 3 times stronger. I mean, the average person from anywhere in the world would beat up Mike Tyson. That's what's so crazy about this is we're falling apart, and these guys are greasing the skids like little devils, reveling in the fall of humanity because they're the biggest, you know, piece of crap up on the top of the pile. I don't want to rule a dung heap, okay? I want to be with humanity genetically with my progeny and your progeny together to the stars. That's enlightenment. That's the great, you know, human development. There it is. How modern humans have become weaklings compared with our ancient ancestors who could outrun and outlive today's top athletes. An average person 7,300 years ago. And they've gone through the bones, they've looked at the DNA, they've looked at all of it. We are falling apart. And by the way, I'm not on some high horse here saying this, okay? I'm not on some, see, my memory's not photographic anymore. I said 5,000 years ago. It was 5,000 BC, so 7,000. This is just unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. And we are so that's why. Yes, it's a problem. I'm so obnoxious. I'm aware of it. Sometimes I can't stand myself, and I'm on YouTube or a podcast skipping past myself. I get it. But we bring all these other great guests. I could just be an egomaniac like other hosts and them for 3 hours. The point is it doesn't matter. I'm doing the best I can. Attacking the globalists like a kamikaze isn't going to be a pretty sight. So let's just establish that I'm not up here trying to conduct a perfect, polished broadcast. I'm up here throwing everything I got at these people, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and that's why we do this. But if you watch other shows, I think the method to the madness is this, and it's not conscious. You watch other popular talk shows, they're interrupting every 20 seconds on average. It's back and forth, it's this and that, but they get people on the panels that are good at it. I do it kind of like the McLaughlin Group guy that died last week, where he's like, hold on, next question. Well, he's even worse than me. But the point is, I'm aware of it. It is what it is. We're not holding it up as this perfect silver platter. We're holding it out as legitimate humans trying to defend against dehumanization. Please continue.
Well, thanks for saying that. But no, you were going to say something about the smoke from the 9/11.
Absolutely. Thanks for reminding me. That is another problem with the show. I bounce around like a ping pong because it's not scripted. You brought up diagnosis of 9/11 linked cancers have tripled in less than 3 years. Now, let's go back to what happened. I was hosting 6 hours of radio a day at that time. This is not my opinion. And I say that because so many times people think I'm up here just saying something, okay? When I'm not just up here saying something. I lived it, you lived it, but I remember it because I was focused on it 10 hours a day, 6 hours a day on air. They came out, the detectors hit, and it said it was deadly and it wasn't safe. The EPA said, do not go in the area. Christina Todd Whitman, the former governor, said, don't. There was a backlash. 1 day later, she went to the pile without a mask, reportedly only for like 5 minutes, and then got out of there, and said, it's safe, there's no problem. We're going to play that clip in a moment. It came out in lawsuits, and this is in the New York Post and other publications, that they knew, not this article, but previous ones, they knew that it was deadly. No kidding, they knew a bunch of buildings totally collapsing was deadly. And they covered it up to lie to the public. This is just one more example of how evil these globalists are. Let's play that clip of Christina Todd Whitman. Now, that was her walk back the day after. She walked it back even more in clips I saw and said it's totally safe. But they knew, and they didn't even say ship breathing apparatus to everybody, even though they could have got it there in a day, because they wanted to keep everything open, including schools nearby.
Well, that's like Obama and everybody after Fukushima said it's safe. The radiation is not going to spread anywhere. And now you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people being affected from radiation damage. Did you hear about the radiation explosion that just happened in New Mexico?
I did. It didn't get much press.
Yeah, it didn't get hardly any press at all. So,
man, when you're out in New Mexico, there's like all these 18-wheelers driving around that have these giant containers that say radioactive on them. It's creepy.
That is creepy. I mean, that's like the silent killer out there, the radiation. But I mean, the thing is,
oh, next you're going to say radiation exists? That's a conspiracy. It doesn't even exist.
We haven't seen the full effects. I mean, just like after 9/11. I mean, I was telling people, any disaster that whether it's a flood, whether it's some sort of a false flag attack or bombing, whatever, you're going to have toxic elements in the air. And in all of those things are just a sign that your self-healing mechanism might be suppressed and you need to cleanse.
They've got studies that I've seen. People can pull this up. I'm going from memory, but you notice it'll be pretty much dead on. That you live, I think, something like 7 years less if you live in London more than 20 years. I'm going for, it was like on NPR like over a decade ago, but actually went and covered on my show and looked up the study. So I'm going from memory. But if you live in a major polluted city, like London was one example, you live close to a decade less. I mean, that's just the particulate in the air.
Yeah, we have, and not to mention the water and the tap water. I mean,
but don't filter your conspiracy theory.
The air and the water are probably, I would say they are the two most toxic things. I mean, you would think that if we just had the earth and the way that God made everything was pure, clean air with nothing but oxygen, or at least 28% oxygen. Now we have 6 to 8% oxygen, and we have millions of chemicals and toxins in the air. And the water that you could just go to a stream and drink the pure, clean water. That's why we had so many in the Roman ages and dating back in history. They would just go to different places and drink the mineral water. The water in the air was their medicine. They could breathe clean air by the oceans and breathe that salt in, and they could drink clean water.
Oh, have you heard in Europe they're going to start taxes if you have a view or live by the ocean? So now there's a beauty tax.
No, I didn't hear about that, but I did hear that Italy is going to take your kids away from you if you are a vegetarian or a vegan. Did you hear about that?
I did see that. Well, I mean, take Spaceballs. You know, they've got a tax on air or whatever. And he's, caught. China actually has that now, cans of air. But no, seriously, I've got it here in the stack. I've got to show it. People won't believe me. Here it is. Daylight robbery. Tax in Portugal on property with a view. RT. Portugal going under due to massive government debt. So if you have a house with a view, you're going to have a tax on top of the tax.
Yeah, I mean, it's not getting any better, that's for sure.
You cannot make this stuff up. Bottom line, folks, get BioTrue Selenium, available at InfoWarsLife.com exclusively. This is the very best formula of naturally occurring selenium that Dr. Group could develop with us, and it is the best out there from our research. Absolutely amazing. And just the amount of energy and things, again, just added to all this that I get with the X2, with the Super Male. All of this works synergistically together, and your purchase funds the operation. 360-WIN, InfoWarsStore.com. InfoWarsLife.com is the subsection, and you can go right to the nutraceuticals, right to the supplements there. And again, X2 synergistically goes with this. We're going to do one more segment and then bring in Jon Ronson for an hour. But when we come back, I know you've got other news you want to get to, other stories. In fact, give us a preview.
Well, this is, we've been talking about all the underground research that's been happening, and this is genetic transhumanism with the chimeras and the non-human hybrids that are taking place. And the National Institutes of Health actually just came out and publicized a oversee research comment section, but they did it in an area that's hidden, and we'll talk about that when we come back.
But we're kooks for being right about it 20 years ago. By the way, as we upscale the factories and development systems with Dr. Group, who supplies more than half of the nutraceuticals that we produce, he also advises us and helps us on the others. We use some of the biggest organic labs in the country. We're going to things like glass bottles. We're going like more capsules. Of course, they're powder capsules, so you have better absorption. This BioTrue Selenium, by the way, is $19.95. They have little cheap plastic bottles with dosages about half of that for the same price at major health food stores. So I'm telling you, you get more, you pay less, you get premium. That is my philosophy. And that's how we do things. And you were making a point about how I'm always getting excited and cutting in. You were discussing that during the break, and you were going to expand on that before you hit one more story.
Yeah, and I was just saying, just because you get excited and it's not that you're trying to interrupt, but it's other factors. Like, so if I'm talking about iodine or something like that, and then, people a lot of times don't know the full history of what's going on. So the way your brain works is just going a million miles an hour, and you're thinking all the way back to the fluoride in the water in Germany and everything else. So,
and it's totally true. We got to warn them. If they just knew what we knew, it'd be game over. Exactly.
So it's a history. It's kind of like a history lesson.
Exactly. And I can't stand it's impossible, though, with the spoken word to do that. That's why it's so frustrating. I want to tell them everything, and I can't do it.
And you're limited on the amount of time that you have.
So how do you deal with that? Because I know you're smarter than I am, and you get excited sometimes when we're behind the scenes talking. You control yourself on air. You're an old Army guy, combat guy. But I guess you've learned to just control yourself and ease back and be calm, because you look a lot younger than how old you actually are, Dr. Group. This stress, I feel physically good, but I look older than I am. I mean, it really gets to me.
I'll tell you, one of my secrets is meditation. It really helps me out a lot. I mean, I've had the FDA in my office for 3 days now. I mean, we get attacked for what we're doing, but our quality control is so important, because when you look at, about a month ago, I was looking online and looking at other nutraceutical companies out there and saying, is there anybody out there that's doing this that cares enough to really spend so much time tracking down raw materials? And it's not easy these days.
This is not a pitch.
Of all the contamination.
The third-party vitamin supplement sites that are the most prestigious, we're like the most popular because people can't believe that our experts, how good this stuff is. And it does freak me out that there's some other good people out there. Longevity's great, a lot of the great, but the fact that there's so few really top-rate companies really giving people good quality for reasonable prices. I mean, it is amazing to again, just know that we're really the best. I mean, InfoWars is now in the top 100 sites, and they even miscounted us as other websites and companies I have, and Free Speech Systems is bigger than InfoWars. Well, no, if you combine us, the only thing bigger than us is Drudge. I mean, it's crazy.
The good thing about that is, and I love to do this, is just go online and look at all the results. Because nothing that we do matters unless it actually affects the individual that's buying the product, that's taking the product, that's listening to the show. How are you going to change their life for the better? That's the question that I ask myself every day. And you ask yourself, what am I going to do? Well,
I don't want my kids to be deficient in things and then have a horrible life. I mean, and I don't want your kids to either. And again, I'm not saying I'm a hero, but it's like when I saw the lady choking 15 years ago or 13 years ago, and no one would help her in a full restaurant. They were all saying 911 like parrots. I went over and saved her. And it's just so weird to me that it's been bred out of us to even care about people. It's like I'm a chump because I care. But I digress, getting off into that.
But it is coming back. I mean, we are starting to see more and more people now that are actually caring and helping more people, and that's the point.
But it's not even a big deal. If I'm choking, you better save me. I mean, that's empathy. It's not that I'm even a good guy. It's like, help me. I'm going to help you. I mean, what the hell?
Or, love thy neighbor as thyself, right?
Look, I don't apologize for getting upset because people are in a trance. Look at how they admit chimeras. In fact, I cut you off. Let's spend a minute on this.
I mean,
human-animal hybrids. This is incredible.
This has been going on with DARPA and with underground Blackwater type organizations for a long time. We've talked about it on the show. It's transhumanism. It's merging animal genes with humans, basically to create hybrids, hybrid humans for military use, for organ generation, for many other things. Any geneticist, well, I'm not going to say any geneticist, but if you look at the way that we were created, we are not meant to have animal genes spliced into ours. And so for the first time, the National Institute of Health says, what do you think about scientists creating non-human hybrid?
Yeah.
They posted on their website a daily public comment period for 30 days. And this is how they do it before they approve some ability for companies to do these genetic splicing.
You know what? This is so huge. Will you tape a segment for the news tonight so you can really spend time on this? Because they're getting ready to, quote, legalize it. It's already been going on. This is so important. Dr. Group, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
John Ronson's coming up. Folks, get BioTrue Selenium. InfoWarsStore.com, $19.95. Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction. Easy assembly. Low maintenance. Replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139.